Sonic Adventure is one of, if not my favorite 3D Sonic game in the entire series, and a big reason for that has to do with the levels. Each level is unique from one another and is designed really well. The levels do a really good job at replicating the Sonic gameplay formula from 2D to 3D, and in my opinion, is the game that did it the best. But there is one level that was never added into the game, and in my opinion, is probably my favorite level in the entire game, Windy Valley. Now, you maybe ask me, wait a minute, Windy Valley's in the game, you stupid. You call yourself a Sonic Tuber? Get out of here, you stupid. No, wait, let me explain myself. While yeah, Windy Valley is in the game, there was actually a completely different version of this level that was scrapped before the game launched. So in this video, I am going to look at the history of this level and comparing it to the Windy Valley we have in the base game. When Sonic Adventure was being shown off at press events or in commercials, we would get shots of different characters in different stages, and in nearly all of them, we can see this stage, the prototype Windy Valley that was never in the final game. We don't really know much, but some of the most popular shots that we have are of Big and Gamma walking around the stage, and these are by far some of the clearest shots that we have. And this stage kept showing up in more trailers and promotional screenshots, and it seemed like this was going to be the stage that was going to show up in the final game. So it must have been a surprise when the game launched and we got a completely different stage. When they were promoting the game, this stage was one of the ones that kept showing up, and it seemed that it made it really far into development. It even shows up in the final game in a cutscene with Sonic and Amy, running away from Metal when they recount the events of Sonic CD. But then when we compare the final version of Windy Valley to what came before, it's like night and day. So this change must have been last minute. From what I can put together, it seems like this change was made due to technical limitations of the Dreamcast, since the entire stage was basically one giant loop, and you could basically see the entire stage from any point of the level. And when looking at this level compared to any other Sonic Adventure level, it's not really like the others. They're usually really spread out and very straight. I won't say linear, they're very long levels, so that the player can't see the whole level, and it allows the console to load the level and let Pop-In do its thing so that it can run the game smoothly. I mean, look at this part from Emerald Coast. You're literally running in a straight line to get to the other part of the level. What's happening here is that while you're running on this part, it's probably unloading the section that you were just at and loading in the section that you're gonna get to right now. And if you notice, in a lot of these levels, your view of the level is very obstructed at some point, so you can't see certain parts of the level. It's either blocked by a wall or by a set piece or something like that, or you're turning or facing away from a part of the level so you can't see it. And that's done intentionally to hide the pop-in and probably parts of the level loading. Windy Valley basically goes against all of that. You can, like I said before, you can see the whole level from one part of the island. Nothing's really blocking your view, and the whole level is basically loaded at once. And it's not small either. It's a huge level. It takes like a minute and a half to get to the other end. So it probably wouldn't really look nice for, the pop-in and all of the optimization that probably needs to be done. So it probably was too much work, for both the developers to optimize and for the console to handle. So I can understand why they would probably cut back on this level. That's what I think, at least. And it's such a shame that such a cool level was, left out of the game due to hardware limitations. But luckily, the entire level and its geometry was basically left in the game files. So many years later, a team of modders came together to completely restore this prototype version of Windy Valley. Now, in the year 2023, the year of our Lord, we are finally able to play this level the way it was originally intended. So I want to take some time to compare the two levels and see how much they differ from each other. So I think we should start off with Act 1, or the starting area. So in concept, these two share pretty similar level design. I will say that the prototype level is a bit longer and more open than the final level, and that's gonna be like a recurring theme here. While both Act 1 levels are pretty linear, the prototype one is way more expansive, taking advantage of the height of the map rather than the width. Both stages end with Sonic being swept up by a tornado, and then we get to Act 2, or the tornado section, and I actually really prefer this final version we have. For some reason, the tornado is made of sand for some reason, and I much prefer the look of the final version, and the level design is much better. The prototype is a lot of stop and go and just bouncing on springs. I know it's like a 30-second section, but I just really like how it plays in the final version. Sue me. Then we get to Act 3, and this is where we get to see a lot of major changes. The biggest difference is that the final version of Windy Valley is much more linear, and it follows the level design and theming of, the rest of the stages in the game. The prototype of this level is probably the most open level in the entire game. In the final version of Windy Valley, you are set on a one path, basically the entire level, with some areas to do some platforming, but for the most part you are just going one way. In prototype Windy Valley, there are so many different paths that you can take. The level is both open vertically and horizontally. It goes really high, and there are a lot of parts where you can just run around, and parts where you can use Sonic's moveset to get to higher points in the map. And this level uses a lot of experimental level design, like with wall running and some wavy hills, and it gives a more unique look to the level. Speaking of looks, the look of the level seems to be completely different too. The final version seems to have more darker tones to it, giving it a more realistic feel. The level itself seems to be full of man-made structures that are being suspended in the air by like propellers, and it gives it like a really industrial feeling to it, and it does have parts with like little natural floating islands here and there. The prototype level is way more saturated, making it have like a fantasy vibe to it. I also prefer the Act 3 look of the prototype because essentially it's a massive floating island with a bunch of ruins, and it makes it feel more natural and part of the world, and it actually fits this scene much better since it's right next to Angel Island, so it kind of fits the whole theme of like ancient floating island. Overall, the levels seem to be completely different from one another. If you told me that these were completely separate levels, I would probably believe you. It's a shame that the prototype was left out of the game, but its spirit lives on, and hell, we have it right now. We have it with mods. So what was once lost media has been found and playable for us. Personally, for me, this has become my way of playing the adventure. I just don't disable the mod, and it feels so fun. This is probably the level I played the most out of any level. Like maybe like Speed Highway, and then this level. I love this level so much. Is it perfectly designed? Of course not. It's literally it's a donut. It's a loop. You can see the end of the level from the beginning of Act 3, but I just love how open it is. I love how much experimentation you can do in this level, and how much you can just mess around with Sonic's moveset. I adore it so much. And it seemed like you're gonna be able to play it with everybody, including Knuckles, Amy, Omega, Big. I don't think Big was gonna be playable, but that would have been really funny to see. But that's all I gotta say for today. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment down below. What do you guys think of this level? Do you guys like it? Do you guys not like it? Do you think it's really poorly designed? I don't know. Let me know. I personally think it's not perfect, but I really like it. I like how open-ended it is. I like how free it is, how much you can experiment with the level. And I just like the aesthetic. I like the aesthetic. I like how it looks. I like the fantasy vibe it gives off. Once again, make sure to subscribe and all that. I'm trying to reach 10,000 before the end of the year. I know, crazy, but I'm crazy myself. So 10,000 by the end of the year. If you don't do it, you don't get a cookie. But that's all I gotta say for today. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.